I'm Joan, Shannon Jung, and I live in Vancouver in Canby Commons, what we call our neighborhood. I am in my 30th year of teaching, mostly grade 4. Was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, a fine place. Kind of sent by this church, Granville Chapel, and many other brethren churches in the area, supported my parents and a few other families from here to go and serve in the Dominican Republic. So I think I had a great childhood. So I'm the youngest of 4. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. We lived in a really rural area right on the ocean, where my parents ran a hosting center for visiting medical groups. From the time I was about 7, I would be a translator, speaking both Spanish and English, to help with the doctors and patients to understand each other. I also just spent a lot of time outside. The ocean, the pool, lots of mango trees to climb, and collecting shells on the beach. I spent a lot of time outside. I actually remember giving my life to Christ, listening to a record. It was like from the Jesus movement, and it had a prayer in it. And I just remember one day, just out of the blue, I just prayed that prayer, and then I told my mom later. I was baptized in our church, Sala Evangelica, when I was 13. Bill Kent baptized me. He was an elder in the church. An experience that really stands out for me in my life of God's faithfulness, His showing Himself to me, was through the experience of a hurricane when I had just turned 11. We lived in an area, obviously, where many hurricanes come, and so we had preparations in place. We had a set routine, I guess, of what we would do, covering our windows and gathering water. So this storm was no different. It wasn't predicted to come very close, and then it did. It changed course. It was Hurricane David. It was a very, very powerful storm, and the eye of the storm came about 15 miles from where we were, and we had a very traumatic experience of that storm. Just a really vivid memories of the actual hiding in this room that we had determined would be safe because it was behind this marble staircase. We just ran in there quite suddenly after eating, and I think I was in there for about 24 hours. The sounds and the experience of that storm is just something I'll never forget. So we were in a main building that was part of the center, and our house was closer to the ocean. Well, the house was pretty much destroyed. We lost the whole roof of the house, and I had been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes 3 months prior to the storm. And this was, in the late 70s, so I was on shots, multiple injections. We suddenly realized that my little kit where I had all my supplies and my doctor's papers had been left because we just ran into this room. So we were worried about I can't live really without that. The first miracle was that the container where everything was there on the counter, but the same counter had all the drinking glasses were all shattered and broken on the floor, and the Tupperware lid had been removed from this box, but everything inside was dry. And so we just praise God for that, and that His hand of protection was so evident in that experience. Everything that I had known to be our home, our work, our fun, was gone, because it was a completely different place after that storm. There were no more trees. We didn't have a home, and we had no communication with anybody in the outside world. And our goal was to survive 3 days. And God provided food that had been washed up. There was a local dairy farm that had milk. It was the women who had been trained with my mom in the kitchen of how to provide food for these North American visiting groups. It was these women who came and said, "Oh, don't worry. We know how to cook on an open flame. Like we will cook on fire." And so they did. And so together we survived those 3 days until help arrived, and they were able to break through all the debris to get to where we were. I think even after that experience, as I've grown up, that has really been a marker for me of knowing who God is. But I learned that the word abide, of how God abides with us, and that it's not about our home or even the country where we're from, but our identity in God as His child, and that He is our protector, our fortress, the sheltering wings. These images and things that we read of in the Bible always have just taken on a deeper meaning for me since that experience as a child.